Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Picture This, the best picture movie review show that has been that for 1 week only. We're going to clean up our act. My name is Alex, and high school me would have been personally victimized by this film. Joining me, very giddy from all the potential positivity, Jack Pinchuk.
Hell yeah.
Here to love you unconditionally, it's Matthew Chen. Great. Drinking for two, it's Caleb Coho.
We're starting early, boys! Woo!
And late as hell. And here to replace Adelaide Spence for probably, maybe just the 1 week. We'll talk. It's special guest Dabs out for Cameron Redshaw.
Hello. I'll replace Adelaide. I'm sorry I yelled at you guys about Rebecca that one time, but it's okay.
Wait, what did we get wrong about Rebecca?
No, it was in the group chat when you guys were watching it on call, and I freaked out.
That's right. That's right. True. I remember that. Well, we done it again. We done watched a film. This week we watched that one thing that okay. Go, just take it away. Everyone's excited. Everyone loves the plot. It's everyone's favorite segment. Dabs out and shout outs to Cody Newberry. This is the only segment he watches.
It's a Thursday in New York City, and all us alcoholics are getting bubbly. It's time for the last weekend, and let me tell you, I took the wrong message from this one. This guy is a writer in New York City, but when we say he's a writer because this fucker can't finish anything. That includes his girlfriend. So this fucking guy is like, I'm gonna go away for the weekend with my bro, and then he's getting agitated because they're like, hey, you're doing so good. Are you thirsty? You're doing so good. And like, they're like the worst AA supportive people you've ever met. Neither of them are. They're like the thing where it's like, hey, we support that you're going sober, but like, here's all this very liquid, like word structure we're doing, where it's like we're just gonna keep talking about like drinking. And he's like,
baby,
sweating.
Do you want some milk? Do you want some water? Do you want some iced tea?
Can I get you an iced tea? No, bitch, not unless there's vodka in it. Yeah, that guy's name is Don Burnham. And he is like, hey, go to a concert with my girlfriend. And he's like, why? And he's like, cause like, I don't want to go to the concert, and like, you should go because she shouldn't go on her own. And he's like, all right, you know what? Whatever. We'll go, whatever. They go to the concert. He finds $10 found that his bro Wick left for the cleaning lady. And he goes to the bar and he says my favorite line in the movie, where he comes in and he's like, Nat, I've come to ask for your hand in marriage. And he's like, what? No, he's like, well, I'd like to drown my sorrows. Instead, get me a drink. And it's so good. It's a phenomenal moment. He gets 2 bottles of rye so he can catch the train. But then he gets too drunk and forgets. And he gets there and sees Wick bouncing and Helen going, I'll stay and wait. And he sneaks in and he hides one of his liquor bottles and drinks the other one. Friday, Nat's like, yo, you treat your girlfriend like shit. And it's like, yeah, no shit, he does. Like, you're like watching 1 day's worth, and you're like, this guy fucking sucks. He doesn't actually suck all that much. Anyway, he's like, I'm gonna write a novel. It's gonna be called The Bottle. And this guy's like, sure. And then he's like, he does what every writer ever does. You want to hear it? I'll give you the first 3 chapters, and then just gives you exposition. Where we go back to the opera, where Bruce Wayne's parents were shot. And they're there to enjoy baby Christian Bale and the Pirates of Penzance and Kevin Kline doing some shit. It's all sorts of shit.
I don't think Doc knew what he was getting into when he agreed to be on this show.
Anyway, he's like, I went to the coat room, and the guy who runs the coat room is like a huge jackass, like really mean and super rude. And you're like, oh, fuck you. And he's like, why'd you want my coat? And he's like, for all I know, the coat you have is your coat. And he's like, it's like a leopard spotted coat that's 3 sizes too small on him. And you're like, what? How would that be his coat? Anyway, I hate coat people who are mean. Anyway, he sits there the whole time, and then Helen comes down and is like, oh, you have my coat. And he's like, yeah, no shit, I have your coat. Take your coat. It takes his coat and storms off, and he comes back. He's like, I'm sorry, that was really rude. And she's like, yeah, you fucking dick. And he's like, all right, well, we'll be nice to each other now and talk and have a good time. And she's like, hey, do you want to go to a party with me? And he's like, no, I'm supposed to go back to my brother's. And he pulls a bottle of booze out of his pocket, and it falls and it smashes and it breaks, and that's alcohol abuse. And then he's like, hey, what kind of party is it? And she's like, it's a cocktail party. And he's like, motherfucker, I'm in. And so he goes off to a cocktail party with the girl, but then he says he didn't drink alcohol all night. He says he drank tomato juice, which is worse.
Yes.
I think alcoholics don't deserve the death penalty, but people who recreationally drink tomato juice, kill them. Anyway, looking at you, Jacariah Pinchuk. All right.
I fucking hate tomatoes.
Bullshit. You're a liar.
It's literally my least favorite fucking food. Anyway,
so, then he's like, there's Don the Rider, and who's scared of failing, so he drinks. And then there's Don the Drunk, who likes to drink. And he finds that out. I kind of just fast forwarded a bit. He's supposed to meet the parents and all sorts of shit, and he doesn't go because he's an alcoholic and he doesn't want to go. So whatever. Anyway, shit happens in there that's not that important. Anyway, he's like, I just pitched you my entire novel, start to finish, and the guy is like, kill me. And he's like, all right, well, you need another bottle. So he goes to find the bottle, and he gets thrown out after trying to steal a woman's purse because he didn't have enough money to pay the bill. And then in his flat, he finds that the bottle he had, and he drinks himself to sleep. Then it's Saturday. But all the places that pawn things where he could potentially sell his typewriter are closed because it's Yom Kippur. And so he goes to the hooker that has a crush on him, and is like, yo, give me some money, and then falls down the stairs and is knocked unconscious. And on Sunday, he wakes up in every alcoholic's worst nightmare, the hospital. Specifically, the alcoholics ward called Hangover Plaza. And they're like, and the guy who runs it is like a total prick to him the entire time, where he's just like, the dude's fucking just like, all right, you dumb bitch, we let you out, you're gonna be right back here because you're gonna drink yourself to death, you fucking slut pirate. And you're just like, what the shit, dude? He's like, you'd whore yourself out for anything as long as you got alcohol, you dumb bitch. And you're just like, dude, leave him alone. I'm like starting to feel really bad for the alcoholic in the alcoholics ward. He's like Louise Fletcher level asshole. You're like, dude.
Yeah. You see that guy? He's here every day. You want to end up like
right?
You're on your way.
You're on your way. Anyway, he's like, no, I don't want your help, and he runs away with a raving violent patient. Monday, he steals a bottle of whiskey, and starts day drinking. And he starts like going crazy and hallucinates a bat killing a mouse. And then he stands up and says, I've done it. I must become a bat. And then he puts on a cape and cowl and fights clowns.
I'll kill you.
Anyway, not this movie. But he is found by Helen, who's like, oh, this dude is fucking nuts. Tuesday morning, he goes and pawns Helen's coat, and she follows him and finds out that he traded the coat for a gun. She goes back to Don's apartment and stops him right before he kills himself. And Nat comes back and returns the typewriter. And then Helen's like, Don the Writer, Don the Drunk are the same person. Write the bottle. Duh. And so he does it. And then he writes about the entire lost weekend, and he drops a cigarette into whiskey, making it undrinkable to prove that he doesn't want to drink anymore. and that is The Lost Weekend. Pat Drunk.
I'm trying to figure out how we should because I'll be honest, we don't usually have special guests. Like when you have somebody over for the first time and you're like,
I think what we should do is we should ask Doc his history with the movie and Billy Wilder, and also your general why do you like this movie so much?
Yeah, those questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can we get a solo on Doc? Can we get a solo on Doc?
Yeah, get a solo.
Oh God, I'm gonna be so uncomfortable. Are we actually doing that?
Don't do it. Oh.
All right.
Let's not do that. Not do that.
Take me back.
Okay. But actually, yeah, those are fantastic questions. Let's start with your general attraction, platonic, of course, to Wilder. Just in general, what brings you to this particular stylist?
Yeah. Apologies about the dogs over there, by the way. But yeah, it was like a little over 4.5 years ago. I had just like heard the plot synopsis of Some Like It Hot somewhere, and I was like, that sounds awesome. I want to watch this now. So I forced Jesse to watch it with me, and we were both like, that was fantastic, one of my favorite comedies like ever, instantly. And I was like, I knew some stats about Billy Wilder, like from Oscars like stuff, because I was into the Oscars for a while at that point. So just kind of dug into his work after that. My second one was Sunset Boulevard. I watched that in theaters, which was awesome. Just like a few weeks later. And then after that, my next one was The Lost Weekend. And then I got into the apartment afterwards and just kind of kept going from there. So just like, it's kind of hard to describe like all of that attracts me to Billy Wilder as a filmmaker. But yeah, he's just so varied in everything in the genres he does. He's so witty. He just has a structure that I really connect to in his scripts. I love how he handles endings. We'll get to it with this movie, how it's like kind of abrupt, but I kind of love that about it because he just like hits the big beat at the end and gets out as quick as possible. And just something about his dialogue and how he writes scripts just sings for me. But yeah, though, to be frank, with The Lost Weekend, the first time I watched it, I wasn't huge on it because I was coming right off of Some Like It Hot and Sunset Boulevard, which are like now like top 20 movies for me. And Lost Weekend in comparison is like much smaller, much slower, and just something about it just didn't fully grab me. But granted, this was like 2018, and I was still kind of coming into my own as a cinephile. But yeah, over the next like few rewatches, I think this is like my fourth time watching this really somber movie, which is kind of weird. But yeah, it's just like, again, just something about the dialogue and the structure. And I think it's just a really riveting tale of like, it's like a downward spiral of self-destruction that like really connects with me. Like those types of movies. Like I was watching it last night and for some reason I was like relating it to Uncut Gems in my head. I was like, why do I enjoy watching this? And I was like, maybe it's kind of why I enjoy watching Uncut Gems, because someone who just can't control themselves, even though like they have the basis of like being a good person and having a good humanity to them, but like just something about just the intensity and the anxiety of just they can't make the right decision even though they want to at any given point, just like grabs me in for whatever reason. And that just like ties into Ray Milland's performance, which I think is just incredible. But I'll stop talking. I've talked a lot.
No, we got you here to talk in place of Spence. We would much rather you be the one. I think I speak for all of us when I say that.
But no, shit. Yeah, no. As soon as you made that comparison to Uncut Gems, I was like, oh, holy shit. You're absolutely right.
One just has a much more optimistic ending.
Yeah.
And that's because one came out in the 40s and one came out in 2019.
Yeah. And this was like the first big movie about alcoholism, like ever. Like the liquor industry tried to buy Paramount out from releasing this movie because they thought it was going to hurt their business so much.
They thought it was going to lead to prohibition.
Yeah.
Insane.
That's
that actually leads me to an interesting point, is that this is like the first time we've encountered a movie like this that is like, so, because we've had like anti-war movies, we've had war movies that are like, we should get out of this war thing. This war thing sucks. But now we're like at we've now reached a very specific kind of anti-something movie that's like, I don't know that we like, might be like one of the only like singular examples we have of it, where it's like, let's take a real hard stance against owning coats. Like, it would be really weird if next year a movie about owning coats or not owning coats won Best Picture. We were all like, huh, interesting.
Well, I think the interesting point about this movie that leads to really why it won is that with every movie we watched so far, there's been like three kinds of movies. It's been the war movie, the like, hey, war fucking sucks, let's not be in war, or something really lighthearted, laissez-faire fun.
It happened
where it's like
to distract.
Yeah, like it happened one night, and you can't take it with you, and like as bad as it is, that's supposedly what the Great Siegfried's supposed to be. Like it's like everything's either like political or war related, or just anti 100% in the opposite direction. And this is the first time where it's like there's not a war to worry about anymore. So like let's just tell stories. And like I think it's like really interesting that Billy Wilder makes Double Indemnity the year before and loses to the feel good, we're in the last year of war, so let's give it to something that makes us happy. And then the immediate next year they're like, oh, we're gonna give it to a thing that makes us really depressed about our like biggest pastime of drinking. And it's like a very I think it's a very interesting direction to go. Like I would say I personally like Double Indemnity more than The Lost Weekend, but like I think both are like phenomenal for like the first two things to be nominated for. Like it's pretty incredible back to back.
Yeah.
No.
All right. I'm curious if we shouldn't do ratings now. Do you want to just start leading us in some podcasts? I think this is really your.
Oh, we don't have Spence. So Jack, play the clip. Welcome to Hell Games by Valley, the podcast within a podcast. I'm your host, Caleb Coho, and today we are going to talk about and rank how gay is The Lost Weekend, and I'll say, love it.
Is it?
He asks a male bartender to marry him.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
And that is a big gay.
Big gay.
Nat plays really hard to get and everything, but then like he shows up to his apartment at the end of the film. Like he cares. Nat cares about
There is an entire gay romantic subplot between Nat and Ray Milland that makes this instantly much gayer than most Best Picture winners.
That's not true. Jack, bring up the list.
Oh, right. I have to share my screen. I will say while I'm doing that, though, that there was in the book that this is based on, there was absolutely a subplot where where the main character Don Burnham I believe is a closeted homosexual.
And instead of having writer's block in the book, he's having a homosexual affair, and that's what he's struggling with over the weekend instead of writing. So
honestly,
I don't know if that would have cleared.
I kind of
wish that was Lost Weekend with that.
That might have been an even better movie.
Honestly, I would not be.
I think that might have been too much in 1945. Like that probably would have cost it Best Picture.
No,
probably would have cost it Best Picture, but that's a movie that you can make today and it'd be like incredible. Okay, so nothing's gonna beat Gay Incest, the movie that is Grand Hotel.
Yeah, no, it isn't. Well, we can go up. We can go up here.
I do think I would start.
We could start the bidding at
probably at Mutiny, above Mutiny.
Above Mutiny.
No, I would say start the bidding at and have
Mutiny's got a lot of shirtless guys.
Yeah, Mutiny has a.
Yeah, but none of them are like actively gay with each other the way they are in The Lost Weekend.
There's that scene where they like lie in the grass together and they're like, Sure is nice to be here with you. And then women
You know
show
what?
up
You're
just to
right.
remind
Nope,
you that
you're
they're
right.
straight.
That's true. Yeah.
I would say it is gay. We can all agree it's gayer than It Happened One Night, right?
It's gayer than It Happened One Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I would
Yeah.
say that's fine. We can put a little immunity. We'll
Yeah,
go
that's
there.
good.
That's fine. That's fine.
Top 10 spot just for you the last weekend.
Jack closes out with the clip. We'll see you guys next week on How Gay Is My Valley. All right, Matthew, hit the song.
Hate that.
Asian.
Welcome to $1 Million Racist, the podcast within a podcast where we rank every Best Picture movie based on how racist is the movie. And here's the real question. We're not gonna ask the question. Instead, we're just gonna say, is it racist? Is it really racist?
Not really.
I don't think so. I
No.
don't think so.
There's like one
There's
black
the
guy.
bathroom attendant. Yeah, but like
Yeah.
That was just like a job though.
That was
like
just
he's
like-
at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just,
It might be a little anti-Semitic at points, like as a character thing. Like there's like a character thing where he like is actively rude to someone and calls them like a Jew,
That's
and
true.
you're like, oh,
I didn't know what Yom Kippur was though before this movie, so it taught me
True.
about something Jewish.
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Billy Wilder, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
Did they say colored folk, or is that a different movie that I'm thinking?
I
of?
think that was a different movie. I think
Okay.
that's going my way.
That's going my way.
Mhm, mhm.
No, that spells the St. Mary, I think.
Oh, Bells of St. Mary, not
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get
Yeah,
there.
trust me, look at that. Bring up the list.
So I would say
there's like a
it's
thing on it.
definitely not the least racist because Casablanca is like anti-racist.
Yeah.
You can't. I would put it right there. Actually, I think it's probably right there.
I agree.
Probably right there.
Sure.
Alex, do you
Yeah.
concur?
I think
I
that's
don't
Sure.
watch any of these recent enough to know. So
God,
Yeah, it's
that's
not
real
nothing
good.
really happens with
All right, we'll catch you guys next week on $1 Million Racist. Matthew, hit the song.
Asian.
All right, Alex, hit the song.
Highway to the danger zone.
Welcome to Is It Better Than Top Gun Maverick, the podcast where we ask the question, is it better than Top Gun Maverick? Is The Lost Weekend better than Top Gun Maverick, Alex?
No.
Matthew?
It is.
No.
No, it is not. So once again, we have decided Top Gun
leaving.
Maverick is
Well,
better than
yes.
every movie. Top Gun Maverick
Right.
better than every movie to have won Best Picture thus far. We continue. Top Gun
Okay,
Maverick is
okay.
the best picture of all time.
Okay, hang on. I should point out I've never seen Top Gun Maverick. I shouldn't get a vote.
But it doesn't matter.
And I'll say
But it
this.
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I'll say this.
Spence is in the chat and
Spence
also
is-
counts. So there you go.
I'm gonna
Four.
flip my vote. I just wanted to freak Jack out. I don't think that The Lost Weekend is a worse movie than Top Gun Maverick. I'm gonna vote with The Lost Weekend against my better judgment.
Okay, well, Spence in the chat is saying keep Top Gun Maverick at one.
This has been a
Okay,
precedent
well,
on the show before where
we
the
have
people-
lost.
Okay, but
time.
the thing is, the issue is we're split 2-2.
Yeah.
Then
and-
we have the guests decide.
No, the guest
No,
has
it's
never
always
gotten to
been-
vote. The guest does not
It's
get to
always
vote
been-
at all, ever.
I hate
So
it
don't
here.
even. So I get that you're like actually part of like the regime from Gone with the Wind here, but like fucking shut the fuck up on trying to rig this show. So what we'll do then is we won't rank it officially. We'll wait till Spence gets back next week and let their vote count then, because we're
Okay.
tied. So we'll let Spence's vote count next week. But I know where this is going. Top Gun Maverick beats The Lost Weekend. It is still
I'm
the best picture of all
80%
time.
sure that we're about to head toward adding The Lost Weekend below Top Gun Maverick again.
It is. No, it is.
think
It
it's
already
already
is because Spence literally is saying it in the chat. So you can literally do it now or you can do it next week.
We're doing it next week.
We'll do it.
because you guys put Casablanca below Top Gun
Yes,
Maverick.
yeah,
that's
We absolutely,
I wasn't here for
we
that.
absolutely did.
Yeah, we did. Anyway, Alex, at the song.
Highway to the danger zone.
Jack, at the song.
No Nazis to be killed today.
Exactly. Good call. So there is no killing Nazis today.
No Nazis.
The only Nazis we're killing is
In our
metaphorical
imagination.
ones. In our imaginations.
So,
Anyway, the alcoholic Nazis of our mind. That's all the podcasts on a podcast that we have this week, I believe.
Yeah, that's
Except
it.
for
Oh.
Yeah.
Casablanca
Except for-
needs Glenn
Well,
Powell.
yeah,
I love that.
I guess we could do
Extra credit?
well, yeah, let's
no.
well, yeah, let's do extra credit because we have a special guest here that may not have
Hit the
seen
clap.
all of the
Mhm.
I've not seen any extra credit.
Yeah.
So.
Get the clip.
Extra credit.
Dabs. All right.
Dabs.
Who saw extra credit movies? I saw.
I
I
saw
watched
all of
two.
them.
I watched
Oh,
two.
All but Anchors Away.
I watched
I
all.
Okay.
I actually wanted to try, and then apparently my public library closes earlier than I thought. So I didn't
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate. So let's start with Koho. What did
Can
you
we start
see?
with Anchors Away since it's the only one I've seen. It's only one that only one person has seen.
Okay, yeah. Let's start with Anchors Away then. How's that? Is it good?
Yeah, no, it's a fun time. It's Frank Sinatra, Gene Kelly. They're trying to find a romance. They're singing, dancing. Sinatra. This like they play very opposite characters to each other, so they're friends. But Sinatra is this really shy, nice person, while Gene Kelly plays like the other guy who like gets a lot of girls, or he's just like really charming. But yeah, I just think it's fun. It's a little too long, but I think it's still enjoyable. There's this really great sequence where it blends live action and animation, where Gene Kelly's dancing with Jerry from Tom and Jerry. And it's a fun time, but there's definitely sequences that just like are just put in there. They don't do much to propel the plot, but like I was never bored. So yeah, that's Anchors
Cool.
Away.
Famously parodied in a Family Guy episode.
Sure.
Jack, bring up the list.
Okay.
Take a drink every time Jack is not ready to bring up a list.
So let's scroll up because I enjoyed this movie. It's a 3.5. So it's at least better than. I would put it
Better than Citizen Kane.
Jesus Christ.
It's not better.
I love how
Citizen Kane.
low we're
I
moving
will-
Citizen Kane by week by week.
I'll put it
That's
right
your
under
fault.
Citizen Kane. I would put it right under Citizen Kane.
It's not that good.
It's your fault.
You're crazy.
Citizen Kane's not that good.
Oh my god.
All right.
What else did you guys watch that wasn't the two that I saw?
I
Spellbound?
wanted to
Mildred
watch
Pierce.
Spellbound and Mildred Pierce.
I didn't watch
That's what I
Mildred
was gonna
Pierce.
get to.
I did not watch
Okay,
Mildred
so let's
Pierce.
do Mildred Pierce now.
I did watch Mildred Pierce.
Did she know?
And let me tell you, fantastic.
Alex, an absolute stand-up comic. I love it. Okay.
Okay. Wait. So Mildred Pierce then.
Yes.
Matthew, did you see Mildred Pierce?
I did. Yes, I've seen all of them.
Cool. All right. No Spence.
That is true.
That's not true.
You
That's
guys
not
are
true at all.
messing.
That's not true at all.
I
I
haven't
hate it here. One week.
seen in recently enough to really make a judgment, but no. Anyway, Matthew, you can start us off with Mildred Pierce.
Okay. Yeah. I like Mildred Pierce quite a bit, but it's just because I am not a fan of narration, it brings it down a little bit. But I think it's still a really enjoyable movie about a woman and her like journey of like trying to get a business, and then also just her relationship with her daughter is the key part of this movie. I think Joan Crawford and Anne Blythe, they're incredible. Joan Crawford definitely deserved that Oscar. Yeah, and then just the way everything unfolds, the noir factor really keeps you glued to the screen. I think the movie looks brilliant too. I think just with the lighting and Curtiz's direction, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, this film is fantastic. It's a 4.5-star film for me. I had a great time with it. Joan Crawford absolutely deserves her Oscar. I'm sorry, Ingrid Bergman. I love you in Spellbound, which you weren't nominated for. Shit. Anyway, but Mildred Pierce, Joan Crawford is better. Honestly, Anne Blythe. I haven't seen Anne Revere in National Velvet because it wasn't nominated for Best Picture. But Anne Blythe is fantastic in Mildred Pierce and is currently, out of those nominees, my winner for Best Supporting Actress. But if Jane Wyman was nominated for The Lost Weekend, she'd be my winner. But, fuck the Academy because they didn't nominate her. Anyway, yeah,
They
fantastic.
gave her one the next year, I think. Did she win?
One of for the yearling, one of the original apology Oscars. I don't know. I haven't seen it.
The original apology Oscar is, hi, Jimmy Stewart, you didn't win for Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. We'll give it to you for Philadelphia Story, which you are very good in, but like not the real winner that year probably.
Yeah, I haven't seen,
might be Chaplin.
I did
Probably
say
should have been Chaplin.
I did
I
say
give it to
one
Fonda,
of
but
Yeah, it's probably Chaplin.
did
I do
say
love
haven't
Stewart in that
seen
though.
that.
one of the original apology Oscars. But anyway, yeah, it's a fantastic film. Let's find out where we rank it. I have to actually open that again.
and can we also rank the Kate Winslet TV miniseries?
I forgot that was a thing. Oh, there it is. Right there.
It's directed
Yeah.
by Todd Haynes, which is like weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird.
All right, Matthew, let's go towards the top. How high up do you want to put it?
I would put it.
Oh, you are really going all the way up.
Down.
No one can stop me. I'm all the way up.
I put it 15, right above Little Woman.
Okay.
Little Women.
And I would put it
Walking down those
above the Oxbow incident.
So
You want to
Doc and I were on the same wavelength on that one, and I'm so happy he heard.
Compromise right there. That's good.
Cool. Right above top.
I love it here. I would change my mind.
Doc, I need Doc to be here with me every week. Doc and I getting tipsy
You wanna-
on the show every week is going to be like the greatest thing ever. Anyway,
Doc, you want to replace Spence?
yeah, honestly,
I would
I
love
enjoy it.
to.
I would
Honestly,
I would honestly be okay with
Already
host
yelling
change.
Spence in the chat.
Yep. Okay. So let's do Bells of St. Mary's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll start
Trash
because
fire.
you all have the same opinion. The Bells of St. Mary's is not as good as Going My Way, which is a little bit of a bummer because it was like I really enjoyed Going My Way. And I was like, oh, I'm very excited for the sequel. Bing Crosby. I think Bing Crosby is just as good in this as he's in the last one. He's very delightful, very fun, very charming. Ingrid Bergman is really fun playing off of him. The movie, though, has this really weird battle of the sexes vibe, but it's being done in 1945. So that's either ahead of its time or really outdated. And it's like Bing Crosby's like, he should learn how to fight because he's out there on his own. You got to take care of him. And she's like, well, we don't fight here. They're 9. And he's like, well, teach them how to fight. So they don't become, she's like, what, sissies? You want to call them sissies? And it's like, oh my God, what is happening? The movie's very aggressive. It's not great. I liked it. I didn't love it. I thought it was fine. I would say generally I liked the movie. So 3.5 stars.
Do you want me to go next?
Yes, you have it.
Okay. I actually liked it more than Going My Way, honestly.
Oh,
I just thought I was more interested in these Catholic school students and characters I agree. Bing Crosby is still great. He's Ingrid Bergman is also amazing as always. And I think it's fun, to see Ingrid Bergman teach a kid how to throw a punch. I think I thought the emotions were pretty strong. I just connected with it more, I guess. Yeah, I liked it.
Great. I'll go next. This movie sucks. This movie, honestly, probably just because I've been like watching them recently, but you know how like the first few Friday the 13th movies were made they were just released year after year.
mm-hmm.
So there's like no way they were just like, what if this time they're in a barn? I don't know. Like that's what this movie feels like to me. Is like you just did like the first draft script and you were like, fuck it, that's good. That'll do. And it's not that it's like fine, I guess. It's okay, but it feels like really underdeveloped. They were like, anyway, in the background there's a cat, and the cat is jumping into Bing Crosby's hat, and it flips over. Perfect. Let's film that. And it just reeks. Bing Crosby's gonna sit down. You know what's there? A cat. Yeah, all right, sure. And then they just made it.
No animals were harmed.
Yeah, some animals were almost maybe harmed in the making of this movie.
Most definitely were harmed.
Yeah,
But yeah.
ethics. I don't know. Genuinely the most entertaining thing about the movie is the fact that they had a Catholic priest on set for the filming of the entire movie, and in one of the final scenes, They were like wrapping up filming, and Bing Crosby and Ingrid Bergman had gotten bored, and they were like, "All right, I think we got it. Can we just do one more?" And in the middle of it, and then like in the middle of the scene, they just start making out, and the Catholic priest goes, "No!" He starts freaking out. So, I mean, if they had,
I love that. Honestly,
I don't know how true that is, but I love it.
I love that.
So, but they didn't keep that, so 2 stars. I don't know. Jack.
So 2 stars.
Look, yeah, I did not. I didn't love Going My Way as much as some other people on this panel. I did give it 3.5 stars. I thought it was a fun time, charming, and while not deserving of Best Picture, still a decent movie. This is just a soulless husk of what that movie was.
Soulless is weird.
I did not understand how this was the most nominated film at the Oscars that year. I don't understand how Ingrid Bergman was nominated for this over Spellbound. I don't understand what in the actual fuck was that opening scene. I am still confused about that opening scene. It meant
the last guy that had your job went insane, and they had to cart him out of here. Anyway, bye. And then that lady shows up in one other scene.
Like, I just, this movie just, it should work because it's Ingrid Bergman and Bing Crosby doing a sequel to Going My Way, which was a fun, charming movie. This one has just no fun in it. I did not have a good time with it.
Bring up the list. We are at odds because some of us really liked it and some of us really did not.
I don't think, did any of us really like it? Because I didn't really like it.
Matthew has it at 4 stars.
Right?
I would put it, okay, throw it way up the list.
This is definitely, I mean, this is not,
yeah,
we definitely liked it than some of these other stuff.
I mean, yeah, it should go above Citizen Kane.
It absolutely should not. Okay. Well, like,
Matthew!
Between us all, though, the movie ends up being.
Can you keep
like
moving it up because I'm way higher than this.
It ends up being almost completely in the middle. It's not that you've already gone way too high.
No, I have not.
Yes.
Where did we put
it?
Where did we put Gaslight? Because I think this is like one spot. I think it's one spot below Gaslight and a spot above The Grapes of Wrath. Oh, absolutely below Oxbow, above Grapes of Wrath is where I'm putting. That's where I'm voting.
Did you see Oxbow?
No, that's what I'm saying. I put it below Oxbow because I haven't seen it.
You're completely you're not taking into account that half of the panel did not like this movie.
We are the grapes.
So how about this? Let's drop. Matthew, do you agree?
There's no escape for cranky grapes. We are the grapes.
Because if we're gonna go that high, then because me and Jack exist,
you decided that you didn't want to be here, so you could suck an egg.
How about this? What number percent? Like, where did you put this? What was it? Like 14, 15?
It was 12. It was 12.
Okay.
13.
Drop it.
I would be okay with above Citizen Kane, below The Thin Man.
Yeah.
No, because it's not that good.
Okay, but two of us like it more than Citizen Kane and less than The Thin Man.
Why? I mean, sure, but like the two of us don't like it at all.
Okay, the two of us like it a lot. You see what I'm saying here?
What I'm saying
you realize what I'm saying here?
What I'm saying is drop it 10 spots below where you think it is. It still, I think, lands above Citizen Kane. And above, like that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. 10 spots below where I put it is above Citizen Kane, below The Thin Man.
I'm trying to get it exactly where it should be, and that means it's probably 22, I think you said?
Yeah, 22 would be...
Yeah, 22.
Okay.
I am totally fine with above Pride of the Yankees right there. That's fine. Right there is beautiful. I'm fine with that exactly.
Doesn't matter. Now to talk about good movies, actually.
Yeah.
How about that?
Suspicion? No, I'm kidding. We already did that. Spellbound.
Spellbound. A great movie. Bring up the list.
Very fun, very cool. Very good.
I like that movie. It was really good. Mean glasses.
Because you're not the tiebreaker. You saw 10 minutes and you're not here.
Don't let him. I am moving. I mean, yeah. All right.
Well,
you knew. Listen, hold up. You know what time we do the show every week, fam.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You knew. Yeah. You know when you scheduled it. You like to sleep
Exactly.
until noon though, so you were like, I guess I have to start at 3 or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, can I tell a weird tangent story to make this episode out to an hour long?
Sure.
Spellbound. We're doing Spellbound. A movie starring Ingrid Bergman in glasses.
Really quick. It's funny because it talks on Spence. Okay, so when we were in Iowa for Cameron Redshaw's wedding, we were all in Boatman's basement, and we were like, we're gonna go to Minneapolis the next day, so we need to be up and in the car by 8 a.m. so we can get to the mall by 11 a.m. because it's a 3-hour drive to Minneapolis. And fucking Spence, when we were planning this, is like, yeah, so we should get in the car at 1 p.m. And we were like, Spence, when do you think we're gonna get to the mall? They're like, I don't know, like 1:30. And we're like, Spence, it's a 3-hour drive, and it's a 3-hour drive back. And they were like, okay, 10 a.m. And Scully and I were like so close to beating the shit out of Spence. We were so close to like actually assaulting Spence. We're like, we're leaving at 8 a.m. And the entire drive up, Spence is like Baymax when they're on low power mode. Is just like so like intoxicatedly just like tired, where they're just like saying random shit the entire drive. Like they said, I think the funniest one is we were talking about Batman, and randomly from the middle of the back seat, Spencer's laying like this and goes, hey, I'm Batman. And we're all fucking crying. We're like weeping on the way to Minneapolis. So yeah, this is why like in California in like a month and a half, Spence is not in charge of when we go or leave or do anything. Anyway, Spellbound is really good. It's my 5th favorite Hitchcock. I dig it a lot. I thought the guy who was nominated for Best Supporting Actor was actually really delightful, and I loved him a lot. Bergman should have been nominated for this, and probably like got
Michael Chekhov is great.
Yeah. Bring up the list.
Yeah, this film's great. Anyway, we can bring this higher. Like
I am going to see it soon, hopefully. Is the score better than the Lost Weekend score? Because Miklos Rozsa was nominated for both, and I love both.
It's close.
Really close.
I'm glad he won because both his scores are great. I probably would lean Spellbound slightly over Lost Weekend just because they're very similar, and I heard Spellbound first. But like, I would go Spellbound probably because it's very Spellbound does the thing that I love most in scores and music, where they have that like I don't even know what the instrument's called, but you know, like in all sci-fi things where there's the
it's a theremin.
Yeah, the theremin. He uses a lot of theremin in Spellbound, and the theremin might be my favorite instrument.
Yeah, he does in Lost Weekend as well. I think Lost Weekend is like the first score to ever use that.
It definitely is, but he uses it a lot more in Spellbound, and whenever I hear it, I just get like goosebumps whenever I hear a theremin. So
honestly, I think we can go higher.
Love the way Spellbound
higher.
Shot.
Okay,
like
good.
this dream sequence is beautiful, and then also just the ending shot with like the gun is amazing.
Yeah.
I would go with.
I'm willing to go as high.
Below,
as like,
I am. No, I would go below. I am a fugitive above Mr.
That's where I'd put it as well.
Stop. Yeah, that's where
Sure.
I'd stop.
Cool.
Bam.
Top 10 spot.
It is. I will say it is Hitchcock's best movie we have watched so far.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
We
And
finally
then we're
get to
gonna
talk about
see
Lost
Rear
Weekend
Window. We're gonna see Rear Window and Psycho and
But-
Rope, and they're all better.
But I don't think any of those were nominated for picture.
No, Rope wasn't. Neither was Rear Window or Psycho because the Academy sucks.
Do we finally get to talk about the Lost Weekend? Something we have avoided doing for like the longest.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering. I was like,
That's the thing of the show is like we'll be like, all right, time to talk about the movie. But instead we're gonna do all the dumb bullshit and then talk about the movie 40 minutes later.
How about we do a standout
Oh,
performer?
Spence, it's too bad you're not here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's real shame.
Standout performer.
it's gotta be
Ray
Ray
Milland.
Milland.
It's Ray Milland.
It's Ray Milland. Ray Milland.
He is a thirsty boy. It is Ray Milland.
He is a thirsty boy.
I forgot that was going to be the intro for this week.
Yes, I hate that, but I love Ray Milland's performance, yes. But as much as I love Jane Wyman in this movie, it's Ray Milland. It's not even close.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ray Milland on one watch is now my number 7 for best actor winners. So yeah.
Just
And
looks so.
I love
Mm,
I love the
46.
scene where the maid comes up and like asks about the $10, and when you like see the gears click into place in his brain, he just like acts with his eyes so well during that scene, and the opera scene, both of them just like just him silently thinking about stuff, and it's like so clear.
He's just
what
a
all
very
it's
great
possible.
facial actor. Like he uses his face really well.
Yeah.
And then he kind of faded into obscurity after this. He had like
He
Dial
made
M
this
for
and
Murder
Dial
and
M
The
for
Big
Murder.
Clock, and that was like kind of it.
Hey, are you gonna tell me that The Last Tycoon from 1976 isn't his most seminal performance? He's like barely in that.
Yeah. Well,
So congrats to Ray Milland, this week's performer, standout performer. Jack, bring up the list.
But brief real talk. It's nuts that this guy didn't become like a star.
Isn't it weird how that can happen?
Yeah.
It's like
who else can we compare this to?
Oscars just for some reason earlier I was thinking about Rita Moreno, and like after Rita Moreno
was
Oscar,
like
just nothing.
Rita Moreno won her Oscar, and then like wasn't a movie star again until like 60 years later. When everyone was like, remember how incredible Rita Moreno is? And then put her in the remake and made a documentary about her. And like, she just like went on a huge like resurgence tour in 2021.
It has to be really weird for her. Has to be really weird to just be lying around being Rita Moreno for 60 years.
So
where are we going with this? Do we have a new number one?
No, he's my number two. He's my number two. I put Bly still higher.
I say one.
I would put one.
I would vote two.
Honestly.
Okay.
I vote one.
Ooh.
Yes.
Wow.
Mutiny on the Bounty has been dethroned.
I mean, I'm okay with that, but like Bly and Mutiny on the Bounty is just like an all-timer for me at this point.
Yeah, that's valid.
Fair.
Anyway,
Vivian Lee's too low.
She's a different person in that movie, though.
With you.
She is. She's incredible.
She is fantastic.
She's very good at being a mass manipulator.
Honestly, I think the runtime really hurt Vivian Lee. Honestly, I think we got too much Vivian Lee. She's in most scenes of that movie.
I am judging performances. My reasoning is I have a lot of issues with Gone with the Wind. I think she's good in it though. I think she's good.
Caleb Coho hates racism. Facts.
I do hate.
All right,
racism. That's why I created the killing Nazis bit because of how mad I was at Gone with the Wind.
That's right. I don't know. Let's do average ratings. Who had it lowest?
That's a three-way tie, but Spence isn't here, so Spence had it 4.5 stars.
That's right.
You can say I have it. No, you can say I have it lowest. Even though I gave it 4.5, mine's like on a lower end.
No, I had it lowest as well.
I had a lower end of 4.5.
But I'm picky.
Doc, tell us all about it.
I'm 4.5.
Fair enough.
What am I supposed to say now?
No,
just like what do you think of what are your issues with the movie? And what
Hi, Jack.
Oh, I mean, I don't have that many issues. It's just like I do think that the ending might be slightly rushed. Like not too much of an extent, and it works for me better and better upon rewatches because like the score and the build to him dropping the cigarette in the glass, I think is really well done. But it is kind of like a really quick tidy up, which I did say is part of what I like about Wilder, but also it can kind of backfire slightly. I don't have too many issues though.
That's right.
Yeah, but I'm just really picky about what I give 5 stars to.
Bar, you don't exist. Shh, you don't exist. It's fine. But yeah, no, Bar is the co-creator of Killing Nazis. Anyway, I would say my thing with The Lost Weekend is like I would say I love 99% of this movie, but the thing that I have with Wilder, the only like small critique I have of Wilder is that usually he's pretty bad at ending his movies. I think that's just consistent across the board. A lot of his movies either end 10 out of 10, awesome, I love it, or it ends a little too quick. Like, I don't like this is my hot take of time. I don't love the ending of Some Like It Hot. I love the last line. I don't love where we end the movie. Like, I feel like there's like another scene that is missing from the end of the movie. But I mean,
there's like a whole nother movie missing that could happen.
I guess that's true. But like, I feel the same on this, where it doesn't. It's not that I hate the ending. It's just I'm with you. It feels abrupt. Whereas like there's like that last stretch where it's like the beginning of the third act as we get towards the end feels like it's not entirely sure of like it's like it doesn't want to end yet, but it doesn't know what it wants to do with the time it has left. So it like is like kind of dancing around what it wants to be, and then gets into the last 30 minutes where it's like, oh, this is incredible, love it, phenomenal, great. But it's like, if they had maybe stretched that ending back and maybe added a little bit more to the build, it might have been a little bit better. I don't know. But like, I would say that the ending's probably the thing that holds it back for me. It's a lower end for 0.5. But that's not to say it's like bad or anything. Like, I obviously like loved it. It basically, it just came down to, it was on the border of really liking it and loving it. And I was like, I would say I love this. Spence, you're not here because you don't like doing this show. You don't like doing any of these shows, and you don't like movies. So you're the one getting replaced. But yeah, I really liked it. I loved it. I would say I loved it. Yeah, I would just say the ending's a little abrupt for me.
I think we're going to be talking about this ending for a minute. Matthew Chen.
Yeah, also 4.5. I also want to bring up Wilder and Brackett's screenplay, which is just incredible. They're great writers, and I think they're also able to like include some more lighthearted moments. I think also just the conversations with the bartender and is just some, it's great. So
I think it's also kind of funny that he has two different sets of writing Oscars. He has his adapted with Brackett and his original with IAL. It's kind of nice.
Yeah. No, I love like the rhythm and like how playful it kind of is when he's at the bar with Nat. And, like,
I love it. I love all of it.
It is a fun way to like it when you were summarizing the story and you're like exposition. I actually think it's kind of clever how they do exposition.
Oh yeah,
I really enjoy how they handle that.
Hey Spence, check your messages. Anyway, yeah. Who's next?
How about me? Because I think I had a different take. I think this is a 5-star movie. I think this is functionally a masterwork on the level that I think the only movie that we've seen that comes close to it is It Happened One Night, which was, again, I think so groundbreaking for what it was. I had a different take about this movie's ending. Because I think this movie's ending, I don't think the guy's going to be okay. I think this is like a patchwork fix, was my interpretation. Because he's not throwing out his booze, he's just ruining one glass. This is 100%, at least in my head. If I had to do like, let's see what this guy's next 2 months look like. He's 100% going to start drinking again. I don't buy that this is the end of this guy's like very interesting story.
Interesting.
I think the ending is open-ended for interpretation of whether he continues drinking.
Like 10 days later, the whole story could repeat. Like,
I honestly didn't think about that. That's a good point.
I think because, and the thing that gets me is the beginning of the movie starts with he's been good for like a few days. So like, days. Yeah, he's been good for a little bit, and then and I don't want to call out alcoholics too much, but like it genuinely, there are some very charming alcoholics. They captured that like descent into madness. I didn't mean specifically Goho, but like they captured like, this guy seems like a really cool guy. He has a lot of friends. He has a lot of people that are willing to stick up for him. And then just on the way down, you're like, oh god, this guy's going through a nervous breakdown because he's nowhere near a bottle. I think this is like just brilliantly captures all of it in like a spectacularly well written bow. The one thing I would change, and this doesn't exclude it from being a masterwork, because I think masterpiece and perfect are not the same thing. The one thing I would change is I would have gotten somebody to do the bats better. Somebody should.
The bats looked. I'm not gonna lie. I'm glad I got to make the joke live, because I dead ass was watching the movie yesterday and the bat thing happened, and I literally went Batman out loud.
I like to think of it like it's a dream sequence, so like it might look a little off, but also it's definitely trying to look like a bat, and they just didn't have the resources to make it look great. So it's fair.
Yeah.
Jack?
I've spoken about this film before on other shows and just in general conversation. This is a 5-star film for me. It was originally in my top 20 films of all time. On this watch, it has broken into the top 10. I love this film. I think it's one of the most important films from, well, in just in film, I think the way it depicts alcoholism is both horrifying and fascinating. I think Don Burnham's, a lot like Howard Ratner in Uncut Gems, is a very flawed character that you should not be rooting for, but you can't help but want the best for him, even though he constantly fails over and over again. And I think Jane Wyman gives an incredible performance as Helen St. James. I think she was absolutely robbed of a Best Supporting Actress Oscar, at least nomination. Ask the people in the picture this chat randomly in the middle of the day. I just sent all capitals. Jane Wyman was robbed. And Coho was very confused.
I was very, very, very confused.
It was, but I think this film's incredible. I do think, as far as the screenplay goes, it's my second favorite that we've seen so far for adapted screenplay wins, because I think Casablanca's screenplay is just phenomenal. But as a whole, this movie, it speaks more to me, and it hits really close to home for me. It's one of my favorite films, and right now, currently my favorite Wilder. I know that's an issue for a lot of people, but I love this film. It's incredible. Where do we want to put this?
Bring up the list.
Alrighty then. Why did my screen stop sharing? Oh, right.
Like a bad smells money CGI remake time. I love it, Bar.
Who believes
Also,
that?
Bar is the Hollywood bigwig in our chat that always just like comes in here with his shit.
I love it. Anyway,
So we are all in agreement that this is number 18 below Greg Ziegfeld, right?
Yep. No.
Yeah.
It's close, but
Yeah,
I think it's a
100%.
little bit better.
So this is the question.
Hold on. I say we start the bidding by below Gone with the Wind and we work our way up.
Okay.
Why?
Because I want to make
Why?
I want to make Jack sweat. Put it below Gone with the Wind.
4.7 out of 5.
Start it below. Hey, start it below Gone with the Wind.
Okay.
Raise your hand if you think it's better than Gone with the Wind. All right. Raise your hand if you think it's better than Grand Hotel.
Unanimous.
Raise your hand if you think it's better than Rebecca.
Yes.
Raise your hand if you think it's better than All Quiet on the Western Front. Better than You Can't Take It With You. Better than Mutiny on the Bounty. Better than It Happened One Night.
This is where
Better than Casablanca.
interesting.
It's 2-2.
No.
So
What did
I have a
Hold
weird
on.
thing
We
if
need
I
to make
count.
this official determination because Jack likes to change the rules whenever it benefits him.
The rules are
Spence is not here.
the
Does
rules
their
are
vote
the
count?
people. No, the person who is here, or the people who are here, are the ones to get a say on
But
the
Boatman
actual
wasn't allowed to
the
say
master list.
Boatman,
The people
because
that are
Boatman
here.
doesn't count. Boatman didn't count on You Can't Take It With You, and
Mhm.
Doctor
That which was a
count on
mistake.
Lost
Which
Weekend.
was a mistake. Because I was not here to arbitrate that. Because I was watching
So-
Napoleon Dynamite.
When
So-
Coho was gone, we counted Coho's vote because you sent it to us.
Yes, we did count your vote. So
Then-
Spencer-
So why wouldn't we count Spence's?
Okay, that's why all I'm saying is I want to know officially what is our ruling on this because we've done it differently multiple times.
Can I
This
vote?
really matters.
Can I vote to make my vote not count?
In theory.
Well, your vote doesn't count.
So okay, if we so
I have a
the
weird
standing
take on this ranking.
the standing rule then is that Spence's vote does count for.
Okay, then Lost Weekend is number 1.
All right.
So,
New number 1, The Lost Weekend upends Casablanca. Take that, history.
My weird take on this ranking is I think Lost Weekend is better than Casablanca, but not as good as It Happened One Night.
I appreciate that actually. I
That-
appreciate
that-
that.
I
That's
love
a-
It Happened One Night.
I gave
also
both
have
5
that
stars.
I don't agree, but I get it.
I love it. Happened one night.
What a
Alright.
fun episode we've had. Nobody screamed. That was great.
My dog's screaming, but hopefully. you
Nah,
can
it's
see.
fine.
Coda!
Best dog. Hey, Bar.
Where is my
You know who was on the show before you?
Can we have both me and Bar on for West Side Story when we get there?
Honestly, yes. Like honestly, what we need to do, because what we're going to do, and we will do it in 2 parts. Is when we do West Side Story, we're going to do a giant roundtable on the first West Side Story. And then when we get to 2021, we will do the second half where we compare it to that West Side Story, to the other West Side Story. And we'll decide which West Side Story is better between the 2 West Side Stories.
That's going to be
which is,
God.
as you might say, North Side Story.
Anyway, thanks for coming out to Picture This. Special shout outs to Adelaide Spence, who could not be here, but who gets a vote. I don't know about that.
I guess.
Next year, we'll be covering the best years of our lives, otherwise known as the things we're spending.
It's time, baby! We get to yell about Frederick March's worst Oscar win ever!
What?
Beating it.
If
he beat Jimmy Stewart. He beat my man. I can't wait to watch this movie and just stew in the fact that It's a Wonderful Life is right fucking there. And this movie won anyway.
This movie it's not as good as It's a Wonderful Life, but Best Years of Our Lives is in my top 100. So.
Then after that, we get to watch the Gentleman's Agreement.
We are
that one's not good.
Let's get ready for the fucking.
Well, here's the thing: it's not great. It's fine. Anyway,
we are about halfway through the 40s. We are doing fine. Hamlet.
I can't wait to drink bleach instead of watch Hamlet.
This one is only 2.5 hours. They pare it down.
Listen, but the 4-hour one that Brano does is actually good.
And then after that,
All the Kingsmen.
All the Kingsmen.
Look, some of us are here. All right, so thanks to.
So for next week.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, what are we doing for
Brief Encounter?
I will be watching Brief Encounter as a complete shiggles watch.
Because it wasn't nominated.
Because it wasn't nominated for picture, but it was nominated for director and actress and screenplay, I think.
I will be watching It's a Wonderful Life. That's my biggest.
I will be watching It's a Wonderful
Life.
I'm gonna watch The Yearling now that since we brought it up.
Jane Wyman. Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be watching The Yearling specifically.
If I have time, I will watch The Razor's Edge, but that's it.
Or best.
It's Wonderful Life.
Scott Hall's best finishing move. Yeah, it'll be fun. There's so few nominees now. We might as well just watch all of them. I said, just knowing that I absolutely was not going to.
That's what I've been doing so far with the 5.
The extra credit list belongs firmly to Matthew Chen and Caleb Cahoe. I will not make any attempts to change that. I just host the show. I don't actually care. So for everybody here,
Jack Pinchuk, but fuck Jack Pinchuk, so it doesn't matter.
He watches like 3. It's like not impressive. For everybody here, add Picture This.
You want to talk
special shouts to Cameron Redshaw for being on this episode.
This is great.
Doc, where can the people find you?
They can find me somewhere.
I'm
in Iowa. You try hard. You can find me here.
If you go to Iowa and you ask about who has the cutest dog in the state, everyone will just low-key direct you to Cameron Redshaw.
So for everybody here at Picture This, thanks and shout outs to Cameron Redshaw. And always remember, if you need help, call 1-800-662-4357. That is the Alcoholics help.
I thought we were gonna. I thought we were gonna say
my drink, and I feel kind of gross about it.
I did. I finished my beer like by the time we got to extra credit. Anyway, if you need help, don't
get
call
it.
me.
And put down the gun.
Take the cannoli.
On that note,
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. Bye.
Shot.